Klause, and I'm very excited to have these guys here because I heard many stories of flips over 2009, and a lot of them came from these guys, and they had some great experiences and some not so great experiences. So I asked them to come talk to us about them. So how are you guys doing?
Very good.
Good, yeah.
Thank
All
you.
right, so Kenny, how many flips did you do in 2009?
2009 will end up being, I think, 16. It'll be 19 in the last 14 months, and then there's one new one we just started on Thursday. So.
All right, so what do you want to tell us about doing flips?
Like most things that we seem to report with the Arizona Republic, at least what I'm finding right now and we have, is that they're usually 6 months or so behind on their media. And about 3 weeks ago, one of the wholesalers I work with was on the front page of the Wall Street Journal. We're local here in Phoenix, MSN and CSNBC, talking about Arizona flipping and the opportunities, and now's the time. And unfortunately, what we found is that it has slowed down significantly the opportunities to hit the home runs. There's still a lot of singles and doubles out there, if you will, meaning financially. But it used to be 12, maybe 10 to 12, maybe 15 guys down at the courthouse bidding on these. And there's upwards of 200 now or so. And then they wholesale out to the end user. It's gotten very competitive, a lot of overbidding. So I typically buy just in the zip codes I market, or very conservatively if it's outside of there, because like you guys all know, whatever you market, you kind of know models that sell well versus that don't. When me and Tony partner, he knows other zip codes much better than me, and so he'll say, hey, I got this one, and we'll go through that. But I feel like the opportunities, and I'm here truthfully, it's a great opportunity. It's been very, very good to me and our staff and our vendors. But I also caution you not to just run out to do one just to say you did one. A lot of people getting burned right now with them, with bad advice. And the market, you have to be careful. I mean, you've got 90-day flipping rules on FHA, so if you're in FHA price range, you want to budget, probably a 120-day hold in there. And there's some things I can help you with that and when that day starts. But I just caution people, know the property, know the market, and expect to get. I wholesale for one gentleman. He's probably sent me upwards of 25 bids now. We finally got one about 2 weeks ago for him because everything was just getting run up so far where if there's anything less than 40, I don't know, I'd say even 40,000 or less in my opinion of what you anticipate before commissions, closing costs, that I'd pass on it and keep looking for the next one because you've got to catch up back taxes. Potentially federal tax liens, which we found out. Not that we didn't know it, but showed up after. So there's just a lot of things you have to be aware of. And truthfully, just securing the property, finding the property is the first little bit scary challenge because you don't know who's there and who isn't, and if it's occupied or not. And there's some tricks with that we can share too. So Tony, what would you say about your experience with flipping in 2009?
Well, it's like, just to set the stage, I'm like the junior apprentice, and this is the master carpenter. I met with Kenny early last year and said, hey, I want to learn more about flipping. Would you mind sharing some of your experience? We met for lunch. It ended up being a great business opportunity meeting because we talked through ideas and options that weren't even on the table going in. And it's, I've learned a ton from Kenny this year. We've had a great experience. I would highly recommend reading Flip if it's something you want to do. They do a good job of outlining the process. They're geared more towards finding a for sale by owner type seller, but the process is very well laid out in there, and that helps kind of walk you through it.
Okay. So do you guys have a system that you use when you do a flip?
Very much so, yeah. I partner with Tony on some, and then another gentleman, Rick, and part of the reason is I know what I'm good at and what I'm not good at, and as you know, I'm not good at my numbers and that kind of stuff. And I got to quit saying that at some point, so I quit believing it. But I'm trying. I guess just admitting it maybe publicly will help. But no, we do. I mean, he does more of the accounting and more of the numbers. Flip has a toolbox you can buy. We did kind of create our own because it's a little bit different. But yeah, setting up so that you can quickly in the field estimate what you think costs are. Like I have a spreadsheet that goes through all properties, and I can show a return on investment and what we spent on carpet typically for this price point, or this amount of carpet, because it's a very, very, I mean, when I get the list, it's typically, let's say it'll be tonight, somewhere between 5 and 8 o'clock, and then auctions start as early as 10 o'clock tomorrow. So if you're trying to identify a property, go out and see it, evaluate it. A lot of times it's first thing that next morning, and you've got to factor in, again, all of this stuff. Right now, it's getting better, I think, at least for us on our offers, that we're not seeing as much seller concession, where it was automatically 3%. I'm starting to see that a little. But you factor in 3 on there, 3 to the buyer's agent, 3, depending to yourself or who's, a co-broke. So you got at least 6 in there right off the bat. Back taxes could be another big one. You need to look at the tax records prior to, just so you estimate what you're going to have coming out based on when it closes. But again, I don't mean to, there's still tons of opportunity out there. It's just, it is a lot of work. It's not just find the property and write an offer. You'll get there, there'll be 4 other cars there, everybody's climbing through the house, trying to get in, and then you're quickly trying to, and you got to remember, that's why we created a checklist, because you run through the house and all of a sudden you get back to write a bid and you go, gosh, was the AC unit there? Was this there? Was this? Because you're so busy looking at more of the cosmetic stuff, and there you get a couple grand hit there, or those type of things. So it's really, we just create a checklist so you kind of can't screw it up, and just go through and this is there, we estimate this. And then sometimes if I'm alone, I'll just call Rick, he'll put it in the calculation. Most of it though, truthfully, I still do up here. I just kind of know what it costs to do these things, and so I can estimate a pretty safe spread. So
Do you run a CMA?
always, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are some pitfalls that, or things you would do differently now that you learned?
I got caught up in it. I had 7 or 8 going at one time on top of our real estate team and our business. And I kind of made a bad decision on one that I, knock on wood, I'll be closing next week on. I'll lose probably close to $20,000 on that one as a net loss. But over the course of 19 of them, it's a no-brainer. I'd do it again if I had to. But prepare yourself, because it does happen. And I was one towards the end of this cycle, and again, I had it under contract for 40-some days, and the buyer just decides they don't want it anymore. And so you deal with 40-some days of hard money off the market. When you're looking at $2,500 a month or $2,000 to $2,500 a month in hard money, just rolling on top of utilities, HOA bills, vandal, anything else that can happen to the property while it's sitting there, it gets pretty tough. So, but I think just one thing I meant to say at the very beginning, and it couldn't be any more evident with this situation, is the concept of no one grows alone, or no one succeeds alone. I'm sorry, both of those I guess are true, but no one succeeds alone. That's how this is. In partnering with people, yeah, maybe the money isn't the same, but I'll tell you, you can keep doing your other business. The stress isn't the same, because you're splitting the opportunities. Plus, you got more eyes looking at it. Me and Tony, I trust his evaluation of property as he trusts mine, and we know going in that at least we feel like we're pretty safe with what we're doing. And I bought one on a drop bid. Drop bids come out literally, I'll be getting my phone here, they'll come out sometimes 15 minutes, 30 minutes before the auction, and they may take a property and drop it, 50,000, 100, just to liquidate it quick. So you're off to the races, and this was one of those. I raced over, didn't have time to do a lot of the calculation. And the holding cost, I've never held one that long. Normally it'd have been 19 days from build to under contract, and it just turned out to be a much longer one.
So do you have your vendors, do you have everything lined up ahead of time, so you have a system that you use when you're going to do a flip about everything that you need to do to the house?
Yeah, I've got one in process right now that is, they're painting today, that we started on Thursday morning. We had 1,200 square feet of tile to take out, the same amount, well, a little more to go back in, 20-inch, granite counters, new sinks, backsplash, all that. The tile was done as of Saturday afternoon. So, it's incredible what these guys did on this turn. Grouted, done in less than 48 hours. And that was demoing concrete in the backyard. So having the key vendors, every day that you're holding it costs money, and anywhere from, probably $60 to $125 a day. So every day to be lined up. And on some of these, the problem is like a house I may buy today, I would have seen last night, and now all of a sudden you've got to take it down and then get utilities on, talk to the HOA, get caught up so you're not getting hit there, and then get those guys out there. And that's the key. With the volume we've done, and these are business partners of mine that we use in our real estate business,